Welcome to the Wholesaling Freedom channel, where I teach you exactly how I quit my 9-to-5 and built a successful wholesaling business and how you can do it too. If you're new here, my name is Ralph and I'm a rat race retiree and a full-time real estate investor. Today I'm breaking down exactly how you can get your first deal step by step, common mistakes to avoid, and how to make money flipping houses without ever buying them. If you don't know a thing about wholesaling and you're completely new, then this is the video for you. So save it to your favorites, bookmark it, and email it to yourself so that you can watch it over and over again. If you're serious about building wealth through real estate, quitting your day job, and achieving financial freedom, but most importantly, time freedom, then make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, because I'm going to give you my whole playbook that you can just copy and paste into your life. All right, let's start with the basics. What is wholesaling? Wholesaling is an exit strategy. Once you sign a contract to buy a property, you have just entered that deal. And every deal you enter, you have to have an exit strategy for it. For example, if your plan is to buy a property, fix it up, and then resell it, then that is your exit strategy. And that exit strategy is called fix and flip. Or let's say you want to buy a property and then rent it out long term. 5, 7, maybe 10 years, then that exit strategy is called buy and hold. The other option is, let's say you go into a contract on a property and then instead of closing on it, you decide to pass it on to another investor. And that other investor is actually going to be the one closing on the property. You basically sell them your rights to buy that property. That exit strategy is called wholesaling. Wholesaling is flipping real estate contracts, not houses. So you find a motivated seller, you get their property under contract, ideally at a discount, and then assign that contract to a cash buyer for a fee. Think of it like being a middleman. You're connecting sellers who need to sell fast with investors who are looking for deals, and you get paid for making that connection. Basically, you're replacing yourself as the buyer on a contract with your investor or cash buyer who will then pay you for that right. So you sign a contract with John Smith, owner of 123 Main Street, and you are the buyer. But you have a clause in your contract that says you can assign your right as the buyer to someone else, Investor X. And Investor X pays you an assignment fee. So let's break that down with a real example. Let's say you find a property that a seller needs to get rid of. You negotiate and get it under contract for $100,000. You then find a cash buyer who's willing to pay $110,000 for that house. You assign them the contract and boom, you just made $10,000 without ever owning the house. That's wholesaling in a nutshell. Now, let's get into how you can actually get your first deal step by step. All right, now let me walk you through the exact steps to getting your first wholesale deal. Now keep in mind, this is a brief overview. Each one of these steps can be its own full video. So let's get into it. Step 1 is finding a motivated seller. Look for people who need to sell fast. Ideal candidates are pre-foreclosures, tired landlords, people who have owned property and had tenants for a while, people who are going through divorce, inherited properties, some people who may have had a relative that died and they're now owning that property, or that property's been transferred over to them. You can use methods like driving for dollars, cold calling, texting, direct mail, online leads, so on and so forth. Step 2. Run the numbers and make an offer. I use the 75% rule. 75% of the ARV, which stands for after repair value, which is what the property will be worth after it's fixed up. And then from that amount, you subtract the cost to renovate the property. And that is the price an investor would pay for the property. Now, the last step is to now deduct your assignment fee. How much do you want to make? Typical assignment fees can range from 10 to 15 grand. So let's look at an example. Let's say a 3-bed, 2-bath property, all fixed up, will sell for $350,000. Well, 75% of $350,000 is $262,500. Now, you want to subtract the renovation costs from that amount, which let's say they're $70,000. $262,500 minus $70,000 is $192,500. And now, let's say you want to make 10K on that deal. So your offer to the seller would actually be $182,500. Now, this is just a quick version. In another video, I'll break down the 75% rule in more detail. So, good thing to remember is make sure you're getting a deep discount. Investors won't buy if there's no room for a profit. Step 3, get the property under contract. Now you can use a simple purchase agreement. Doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to be 30 or 40 pages long, but make sure that there's an inspection period so that if you need to, you can back out. Now I'm not a fan of backing out on deals because sellers are really depending on you to buy this property. But just in case you did your numbers wrong, you want to give yourself some room to be able to back out of that contract. Step 4, find a cash buyer. Reach out to local real estate investors, landlords, and flippers. Post in Facebook groups, attend meetups, and network like crazy. Partner with another wholesaler who may have a bigger buyers list than you have. Talk to a local realtor who may have investor clients that are looking for their next project. I'll make another video where I deep dive into how to find buyers, but let's keep moving. Step 5, assign the contract and get paid. Now you have to sign an assignment agreement transferring the deal to your buyer. An assignment agreement pretty much says, hey, I have a contract to buy this property for $100,000. I'm going to assign it to you, Mr. Investor, for $110,000. And after that, you get paid at closing, which is typically around $10,000 to $15,000. Now, before you run out and try to get your first deal, here are some common beginner mistakes to avoid. Most of these I did, so please, whatever you do, don't make these rookie mistakes. Mistake number 1, making offers without running the numbers. If you lock up a bad deal, no cash buyer is going to want to buy it. You're going to be stuck. Most importantly, you may be putting the seller in a bind if they were counting on you being able to close the deal quickly. So if you are not comfortable with running numbers, work with someone to be sure that you are getting the right ARV and the right rehab number. Ask a realtor, although full disclosure, I love realtors, but many realtors don't know how to properly run ARV. Please don't kill me in the comments. Ask another wholesaler, but the best person to probably ask for help is your cash buyer, your investors. These are the people who would be buying the deal from you, so ultimately the numbers have to work for them. Mistake number 2, not using the right contract. Ask another wholesaler or investor or reach out to a local real estate attorney to make sure that you are operating the right way and in your particular state and market. Each state has different laws regarding real estate, and especially when you're wholesaling real estate, you want to make sure you're operating in the guidelines set forth by your state and in the market that you're working in. Mistake number 3, not having a buyer's list. If you don't have cash buyers ready to go, then you're going to struggle to move deals. People often ask me, what should I work on first as a new wholesaler? Finding deals or building my cash buyers list? And the answer I always give is both. You don't want to find a great deal and then have no one to send it to. And at the same time, you don't want to spend all your time finding cash buyers, but then never having a solid deal to sell to them. So work on both. Mistake number 4, giving up too soon. The first few weeks will be tough. The first few months will be tough, but wholesaling is a numbers game. The more you work at it, the more offers you make, the more buyers you talk to, the bigger your buyers list is going to get, and the faster you'll be able to find your first deal. Mistake number 5, not taking action. Watching videos is great, reading and learning is a must, but deals only happen when you talk to sellers. So don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Go out there and take action. And if you feel stuck in analysis paralysis, stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to give you the key to how most wholesalers get their first deal, and you can do it today. Okay, so now you know what wholesaling is, and now you know the step-by-step process for closing your first deal. And you even know some of the most common mistakes or pitfalls that most new wholesalers make so that you can avoid them. So, how much money do you need to get your first deal? So here's the best part about wholesaling. You don't need much money to start. You don't need a real estate license in most states, but check with your local laws to be sure. Some states do require that you have a license. Most states don't. You don't need a ton of experience or education. You don't need a big budget. Here's what you actually need. To get your first wholesale deal, you'll probably need anywhere between $0 to $500. This will cover marketing like cold calling, texting, and driving for dollars. It will also cover a free Google voice number, although you can use your personal cell phone number. You'll also need a basic contract. Now, there are tons of free templates online, but my advice is always to work with a local real estate attorney to make sure your contract is ironclad. That's it. Most new wholesalers get their first deal probably spending $300 or less, so there are no excuses. I remember my first wholesale deal, I got it through driving for dollars. And my second deal, I ended up getting a free list from a website that honestly, I don't even think it exists anymore. And I got some cheap skip tracing that was about 4 cents a record. And I just started calling on a Google voice number. Altogether, it probably cost me around $20, and on that second deal, I made $6,000. So you don't need a huge capital investment or a ton of money to start. As you make more money, you can invest more in tools and different marketing strategies, and then you can have a larger budget, but you don't need a large budget to start with. All right, now let me tell you the fastest way to get your first wholesale deal. If you're stuck in analysis paralysis, this is the key to getting out. It's the fastest way to get your first deal. Are you ready? The first strategy is called driving for dollars. Basically, what you're doing when you drive for dollars is you drive around your neighborhood or in the market you're looking to wholesale in, and you look for distressed properties. What I mean by distressed properties are properties that are not pretty. I'm not talking about the brand new house that somebody just built down the street from you. I'm talking about properties that have boarded up windows, overgrown yards, the roof is falling apart, the mailbox is overflowing with mail, which is a sign that it's probably vacant and nobody's actually checking the mail. The siding is falling off, or it's broken, or it's peeling. The property appears vacant. Maybe there's a couple of broken down cars in the driveways. These are the properties you want to find. Once you find these properties, create a list by writing down all the addresses. You can use the app, or you can use a basic Google spreadsheet. Look up the property owner's information. You can find the owner of the property on many different websites. There are both free and paid options. I use batch leads for all of my property data and batch skip tracing to find the numbers of the property owners. I'll leave a link for both in the description below. You can also find the number of owners on free websites like truepeoplesearch.com. The next thing you have to do is you have to take action. You have to call the property owners. Don't overcomplicate it. Use a simple script. Hi, Mrs. Seller. My name is Ralph. I saw your property at 123 Main Street, and I wanted to see if you'd ever consider selling it. Driving for dollars is the #1 strategy for new wholesalers, and it's how most wholesalers get their first deal. If you're serious and you want to take action, start driving for dollars. Click the link below and get my free Driving for Dollars playbook, which will give you a full breakdown on how to drive for dollars, how to pick a market, what to look for, do's and don'ts, and much more. Another strategy most new wholesalers use is working with other wholesalers. Partner with experienced wholesalers and help them find a buyer for their deals. At the end, you split their assignment fee and you get paid, all while learning the business. Another easy and free strategy to use is reverse engineering. Go to Zillow, go to Craigslist, and find cash buyers. Find investors who recently just sold a fixed up property. Call them and ask them what kinds of deals are they looking for. Then go find them exactly what they want. The concept of wholesaling is very easy, but execution is hard. However, if you stay consistent, I promise you'll land your first deal faster than you think. All right, guys, that's it. That's the step-by-step process of wholesaling and how to get your first wholesale deal. If you got value from this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will use them to make future videos and answer all of your wholesaling and real estate questions. Also, if you're serious about financial and time freedom and you're ready to ditch your 9-to-5 and start building a real estate business that makes you cash month after month, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a video. Now go out there and start making offers, and let's get you that first wholesale check. See you next time, guys.